beautiful and talented Miss Brooks.
Woo!
I was going to try to, raise the literary quality by writing a short story about our own. Oh, there she is. It's called The Devil. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful baby girl who was born in Boston. Her family was so happy. She grew more and more beautiful every day. Her parents could also tell that their little Dalcione was as clever as she was cute, and hoped that one day she would marry a rich Catholic American boy of Portuguese heritage, preferably first generation. Baby Dalcione learned to speak Portuguese even before she spoke English. See how brilliant she is, said her proud family. She could walk at 9 months, play piano by ear at 2, change oil in a sewing machine before her 3rd birthday, and began to freelance Portuguese translations of the U of C School Math Project textbook the summer before starting kindergarten. Sadly, there was a serpent in this little paradise of family happiness. Little Dalcione refused to speak any English words, only numbers or mathematical terms. Fortunately, Mom and Papa are the same in almost any language, or they would have been in a real pickle. But things were still pretty bad. The first numerical word she said was her version of no. 0! And she would shout it all the time. Modulus meant yes. It took the family a while to figure out, as this sounded like a magic spell. Also, she almost never said it. She called her sister dependent variable. If she was so naughty that she had to be spanked, and sadly, this was quite often, she would shout, 0 and behavior. Mom and Papa were thrilled when she named her 2 new kittens Box and Whiskers. At last, a breakthrough. Then a nephew who attended MIT told them about Box and Whiskers' plot, and they were devastated. Soon the whole extended family was in on the great secret. Everyone had advice. One uncle suggested they beat the boogers out of her. American colloquialism sometimes confused him. Aunt suggested many remedies involving olive oil and garlic that Mama and Papa knew could never work. The grandparents in Portugal said she should be sent to live with them, and the family shame would remain secret. Well, Mom and Papa had no intention of letting their little girl go and live several thousand miles away from them. They loved her in spite of her weirdness. But something had to be done, and soon. The good sisters at St. Elisabetta, although they had changed the spikes in the Iron Maiden with soft spikes since Vatican II, were still a tough-minded bunch. If they asked for little Dalcione to draw a picture of her family, they would not be happy with a Venn diagram. There was only one thing left to do. Go to the priest. They needed an expert. Although Dalcione refused to speak anything but mathematical English, although it was embarrassing, the real problem was where did she learn the terms in the first place? There was no math people in her family. They could balance a checkbook, make sure waiters weren't cheating them, haggle with the best of them, but this, they feared there was only one answer. Diablo Matsito. Unknown in northern climates, Diablo Matsito loathed and feared by Mediterranean people. It is Matsito who attempts to destroy human happiness through story problems. If it takes 6 men 9 days to lay 11 miles of track, how long will it take 14 men to lay 17 miles of track? Like Matsito he tempts human beings into figuring out ways to create all kinds of nasty things, high-rise buildings, internal combustion engines, atomic bombs, and the space program. The priest was shocked and agreed that an expert must be found. But it must be a very special one. He had to have a PhD in math, speak both English and Portuguese, and be a pediatric psychiatrist. A quick call to Boston College found just the Jesuit they needed, and little Delcione's exorcism began. Mancito drove a hard bargain, but eventually a deal was made. So Delcione would learn English, but she would be allowed to become a mathematician, and she would have to marry a Hollander. And move to Muskegon, Michigan, and share her grace and light with the faculty and students of MCC. And that's how Delcione came to Muskegon.